Hello from the other side. I'm not really pushing for that. It's just kind of happening. What's up, guys? It's Matt from RamseyVoice.com, and I'm a real vocal coach and singing teacher. And today I'm going to be reacting to Demi Lovato's best vocal lines. So I can't wait to jump in and check it out. Demi Lovato is somebody that I think of as one of these modern pop female icons. She's just an amazing singer, amazing range, amazing power throughout her voice. And I've worked on a lot of her songs with my students. However, I have not seen this video before, so I can't wait to see like each individual kind of like of her best takes. So we'll see what happens. If you guys find this video helpful, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and do all that crazy stuff. Or if you're ready to improve your singing voice today, check out my complete singing course, Master Your Voice. But most importantly, watch until the end of the video to see whether indeed this is a 5-star performance. Okay, let's just jump in.
Take me to church, I worship like a dog at the shrine of your lies. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. Offer me that deathless death. Good God, let me give you my life. Take me to church, I worship like a dog at the shrine of your lies. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife.
Check out what she's doing on Shrine of Your Lives. This is what we call like a very divergent resonator. And I know that that sounds like a big SAT word, but it just basically means she's open on the outside and she's very, very closed on the inside, which means that her larynx is pretty high and her soft palate may be a little bit low. But more importantly, like the shape of her mouth is very very open, as opposed to like what you would think of as convergent, which would be like an ooh, 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 where things are kind of open in the back and kind of closed in the front. Instead, she's doing kind of this megaphone shape, and she's got that lies, and that's kind of giving her some of that kind of really ugly, bratty, brassy, pharyngeal quality. And here's the thing, when I ask people in my classes to do stuff like that, they immediately go like, oh, this is super nasal to do it like this. But like real pop singers do it all the time. All the time. And it's because it makes those top notes a little bit easier. Not that this is a top note for her, but those higher notes in people's voices are often a lot easier because it takes a little bit of the pressure off. Just something to point out.
Offer me that deathless death. Good God, let me give you my life.
Oh, what a beautiful example of that same thing that I was talking about. Hello from the other side. She's going, And again, the soft palate's a little bit low. Maybe the larynx is a little bit high. It's a little bit easier on an ah vowel like she's doing here than she was doing lies. But in this particular case, you can see how open her mouth is. And again, that's just making things a little bit thinner, which makes things a little bit easier for her, where she's still getting that belting, hello from the other side. I'm not really pushing for that. It's just kind of happening. Yeah. Oh, that was cool. She flipped. That's cool. Back in her mix. Woo, that. Yeah, an A5 up there. That's pretty tough. And you can see that she's actually dropping her jaw slightly. That's not really an ooh anymore. It's more of an ooh. I can't do it. I can get up to about a G. Ooh! And it's kind of the exact same feeling. It's not an ooh anymore. And she's going
You can take everything I have. You can break everything I am. Like I'm made of glass. Like I'm made of paper.
One of the things that's really interesting about Demi Lovato's vocals in general is that as soon as she goes into a belted note, she vibratos it immediately. And a lot of singers can't get away with that very well. Not to say that they don't do it. A lot of singers do that. But here's the thing with vibrato on a belted note. The vibrato will sometimes shift the pitch and make it feel a little bit less stable than if you just held into it for a second and then added your vibrato. So a lot of singers will add it immediately because the vibrato actually relieves a little bit of the pressure on the note. Like if I'm singing ah and hold into it, that's tough. But if I go ah, I still get that same kind of belted bright sound that I'm looking for, and I get the added bonus that the vibrato sounds pretty cool. But it makes it easier. It does. And if I were that's kind of harder to start the vibrato right off the bat, but it's really interesting that she does that. That's kind of one of her stylistic choices.
And go on and try to tear me down. I will be rising from
Some intentional vocal breaks. And then she comes back into her mix.
the ground like a skyscraper. Like a skyscraper.
Cool.
Well, some may say I need to be afraid of losing everything.
Oh, that's really cool. I'm losing everything. Losing.
Because of where I had my dad and where I made my name. Well, everything's the same in the la la land machine.
Yeah, so her kind of deal here is like she's definitely worked with some good people because she's definitely learned to drop her jaw a lot to relieve some of the pressure on those top notes. She's going super belty a lot of the time here so far, but again, dropping the jaw a bunch on those top notes in the right way, in that she's actually imagining the target vowel that she really wants to hit, but she's just dropping the jaw to kind of accommodate that. Like on the ooh that we saw earlier, if I want to take an ooh up, I'll go ooh. I was thinking ooh the whole time, but my jaw dropped in order to accommodate that note. That's really cool.
Well, I'm not gonna change.
She got a big
In the
mouth.
la la land machine. I will stay the same in the la la land machine.
Yeah, look at that. And then kind of back to that pharyngeal thing that we were talking about earlier, where she's using a little bit of that kind of ugly sound, like a little bit of that in her put them together and you're gonna and you can make it sound pretty cool and powerful without adding a lot of voice into that.
Don't surrender, surrender, surrender. Please remember, December.
I like these acoustic sets. Ooh. That's pretty flat. That's the note. Now, one thing I want to point out here is a lot of people may watch her videos and just be like, oh man, like all I have to do is just like yell my face off and really put a lot of passion into it, and I can get that same sound. What we're looking at here is the perfect combination between genetics and a lot of training. You put those two together, and in this case, you get an amazing performance. This is a girl that knows how to work a lot of the different parts of her voice together very well, and she's able to hold these things together so well. I'm not saying that she's hurting herself, but it's not the healthiest singing. Like, I imagine that she's pretty fatigued vocally after a performance like this. But this is a performer that gives 100%. And if she's taking care of her body and taking care of her voice, there's a possibility that she can sustain that for a while. And again, that part kind of comes back to the genetics too, of like some people's voices can just take more abuse than other people's. I've known some singers that like they just hear somebody sniffle and all of a sudden their voice is shot for like 2 weeks. But this is probably a singer that can go for a long time. She's doing great. Nice. That's a nice little riff there. So she did like a little vocal break and then she went right into a riff. That's very, very interesting.
But I wish I could mean this, but here's my goodbye.
So this is a perfect example. I wish this could be my goodbye. She's not saying, I wish this could be my goodbye. She's saying, I wish this could be my goodbye. On notes. So these are what I call like Forrest Gump vowels. So you can just see it right here. As soon as she starts, I wish.
I wish I could mean this, but here's my goodbye.
Sorry, I wish I could beat this. I wish I could beat this.
Oh, I'm happy for you.
Woo!
Know that I am, even if I can't understand.
Woo!
If that being said, I'm happy for you.
Ooh, that's my favorite so far. That is just amazing. And I love that, I mean, you can tell that there's no pitch correction on that. I mean, it's just raw. Some of the notes are just a couple of cents flat, a couple cents sharp. But man, what an amazingly powerful and heartfelt performance. Really, really a great performer. I love the way she works with the mic.
You're the only one I wanted, and you were the first one I fell for.
Okay, so that's an F5. So again, that's just that very, very bright pharyngeal feeling.
I just want you to know, jealous of the best, you're beautiful.
Wow.
You're beautiful, yeah.
One thing that I find really interesting about this is not something that works well for my voice, but I'm always impressed by the singers that kind of are able to do riffs and runs really well and move their jaw a lot to accommodate each one of the notes. Like you can see like her jaw moving on each one of the notes. Now that's not something that I would recommend to a lot of beginning singers. Like for example, like if I go from if I go, my jaw isn't moving a whole lot as I run through that riff there. But if I, it can certainly like dramatize the notes a little bit more. And so it's actually a little bit harder in my opinion to sing those notes by moving your jaw quite so much. But I can see why she does it. It really, really dramatizes the performance.
See, I want you to know, I need you. I'm because you steal your heart. Never really had it, could never figure out how to love.
I can tell you a big part of working with a singer like this as a voice teacher would be actively decompressing her voice after her shows, giving her a really, really good cool down and certainly a warm up before she goes and does a big performance like this. That's going to be absolutely crucial, because if you go into these kinds of performances and you're not warmed up, it's almost like a little pebble in your shoe. Like you've got this pebble in your shoe and it's not a big deal because you're just walking 1 block. But put a pebble in your shoe and now you're gonna, hike 10 miles. That one pebble is gonna rub a certain part of your foot like raw. And that's kind of the way that it feels when you're not really warming up. It's like you didn't take that pebble out of your shoe. So in other words, warming up is going to help you feel like you are completely ready to take all of those notes totally in balance, so that even when you start to fatigue a little bit, you still know where the balance is and you can find it again. But if you just walk on stage without warming up or anything like that, it can feel really, really daunting.
Ooh, the reason I hold on.
Little flat there.
Ooh, 'cause I need this all gone.
And that's one of the reasons why I don't always advocate for falsetto as a vocal effect. It's very, very difficult to control that. Ooh. It's like kind of difficult to find like the exact right pitch when you're doing that. And that's something that you're seeing here. She was just a little bit sharp, then she was a little bit flat. As soon as she clicked back into her mixed voice, she was totally fine.
It's funny you're the broken one, but I'm the only one who needed saving.
And then she's perfect.
'Cause when you never see the light, it's hard to know which one of us is caving.
Ooh, cool.
Not really sure how to feel about
Oh, I
it.
love this song.
Something in the way you move.
Ooh, that was going to move. That she's engaging her false vocal cords a little bit there to get that in the sound, and it really, really adds a lot to the performance. Man, guys, this is such a phenomenal performance. I've got so much respect for Demi Lovato. I think that she's a tremendous artist. Her songs are really, really great, but she's such a phenomenal singer. I have to give this performance a 5 out of 5 stars. It's absolutely flawless. There's nothing about it that I would change. Even the little snippets and stuff like that, where she didn't have any pitch correction on her voice, even when she was in the studio, those were some of my favorites because she's got such a command over her voice and the kind of emotionality and the dramatization of it. It just seems so great. Guys, I hope you found this video really, really helpful. Make sure to click like, comment with the next song that you want to see me react to, subscribe, and turn on notifications for this channel. Or if you're ready to get started and improve your singing voice today, check out my complete singing course, Master Your Voice.